250.
You've got to throw some cold water on the situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. NetHeads.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
I'm sorry, I have to admit, that is the nerdiest thing I do every week, and that nobody sees, but except my co-host. Like last week, or the week before, whenever it was, Josh Stiffer got to see it, and Trent, you unfortunately get to see it all the time.
Yes.
But there's this moment where the intro plays, and then I look like I just do this stupid motion because I always generally time out the second Aziz Ansari as Tom Haverford drop. I mix that one in live every time, so it's not necessarily hitting in the same spot, but I've just got a feel for it. So then I do this ridiculous little. So now you can all see this. That part here. Let me just do this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to listen to the whole damn thing, but
You've got to throw some cold water on the situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd
and there's
culture
the intro
is
guy.
mainstream.
So
Yeah.
we got a little ways to go here.
Yeah, it's coming.
Means you're the one
Although
that's out of the
technically I could
zeitgeist.
drop it down, and part of the broadcast would sound semi-normal.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we do multi-track mixing here, so
NetHeads
Yeah.
with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's
a tech podcast.
It's a tech podcast.
Is it really though? I mean,
But we are a shit ton cooler than your typical geek.
yeah, which we pissed off one guest with that. So I mean, it's like you can't win all around.
Yeah, it's okay.
NetHeads.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and
So then I do
Trent.
this stupid thing.
Oh, yeah. And then,
No one listens
Done.
to the radio. I wasn't even
Like I
listening.
just
was listening to
accomplished
podcasts.
something.
Podcasts
Yeah.
are great. Radio's boring.
Anyway,
Yep.
sorry for the reintroduction of the intro, folks. Welcome to another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
and I am T-Rent.
That's right. The T-Rent is back. It's almost the first of the month, folks, and it's time to pay the T-Rent.
Yo.
And there he is, fresh from Portugal. You're a world
Yeah.
traveler, sir.
Yeah.
How was
Yes.
that? How was that experience?
Dude, Portugal's the best. I want to go back already.
You know where you should go? You should go to Stad.
What's
Stad is
Stad?
great this time of year. Sorry.
What's that? What's that from?
That's from Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh, right. Yes.
Bill Hader said, I could go to Hawaii. Sarah also you should go to
You
Stad.
could go to Stad.
No,
That's right.
Nobody says that, right?
Yeah, no.
So first of all, I have to ask, how did you decide on the Portugal? By the way, if you want to take part in the program, many ways you can. One of them is Twitter. Trent, tell them how.
Yeah, so simple. Just use the hashtag NetHeads. It's pretty easy. We've already got Ash Williams in there and Miranda Janelle, wished us good luck as she's podcasting at the same time. So if you want to jump in and talk with us, use the hashtag NetHeads on Twitter.
You know, one thing you could also do if you get adventurous, we do this. It's a big simulcast thing, so technically it's going through YouTube. You can also go to netheadsonair.com/live, typically to see the video, but I don't think I got that far today.
Yeah.
Although in all seriousness, I could do it on the fly right here, right now. But it turns out that on the YouTube's proper Trent, if you're using the come correct, if you will, of YouTube, you're on the actual YouTube itself.
Yeah.
Then what happens is there's also a chat window there. So I have made sure. By the way, if you want to refresh netheadsonair.com/live, that's fine now. I mean, if for some reason you're listening to the audio but suddenly deciding you're going to go to the video, and it's just so wonderful that an audio podcast can talk this much about video.
Yeah.
But the whole point is I do have that window open. So if you take the time to chat within there, odds are I may somewhat see it. So that all said, also netheadsonair.com or netheads on air via Skype. Anyway, Trent, so how did you come to the determination of Portugal?
Well, I speak Portuguese, so that helps. That helps a lot.
Okay.
And I've been to Portugal like 10 years ago on a spring break trip, and I loved it. And I've wanted to go back ever since. And then my girlfriend in February found flight tickets round trip for $430. So she just booked them and then was like, "Hey, we're going to Portugal."
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did she get tickets that cheap?
I don't know. She follows like a bunch of websites, and then when she just gets notifications when things come up.
So like every once in a while, it'll just be like a completely random, round
Totally.
trip to Portugal, amazing price, must travel in this time window.
Yeah, a lot of times like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is probably very commonplace. And right now that sound you hear was the cries of a million millennials, as though they were silenced all at once from our stupidity.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I'm not a big vacation guy, and if I've got a day off, I usually just want to like sit home and play Street Fighter, read some comic books. So it was a good stretch for me to get out and spend like 10 days on vacation. I've never spent more than 5 days doing anything that wasn't work.
Wow. So really, this was some serious time off for you.
Yeah.
What was it? Okay, so as a person that's normally busy, what was it like with the forced downtime?
Yeah, well, see, I'm of the belief that on your vacation, you should never like stress or do anything that you don't want to do because it's vacation, right? So, like sleeping in, if I want to sleep in, that's going to happen. I'm not getting up early to go see a museum or to go on a hike or something. I'm just going to sleep in. Everyone else can leave me and go to breakfast if they want, but I'm going to sleep in.
Fair enough. Okay.
And that's for the betterment of the group. My girlfriend and I went, and then my friend who lives next to me, he and his wife went, and and we're all on the level. They were cool. Like if I want to sleep in, they could go do something. If we want to sleep in, that was fine. Like we're all adults, we can take care of ourselves.
And
so that part was actually really nice.
And instantly, you're also building in a buffer because that way your girlfriend doesn't have to resent you. Because if she wants, she can go with the married couple to go
Yes.
experience the event scheduled type thing or activity.
Exactly.
I know I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, you live in a house of learned men, so I shouldn't be surprised by these things. But damn, a brilliant move, sir. Brilliant move.
Yeah. So and then that way, there's because I've been on trips where you get home and you feel like you need a break from having been on your break, and that's not the way it should be. You know what I
No.
mean? If it's a true vacation, it should just be like, in my opinion, stress-free the whole way through.
Yeah, so that way then even the flight home is nothing but just you're resting up from the travel.
Exactly.
At
Yep.
most, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I'm
exactly.
with you, man. Well, it sounds
Yeah.
like you had a great time. I know that I was tickled pink because the particular cafe you chose to drink at some point they must have used the same type of beans that I do because, the bean manufacturer was nice enough to donate branded cups.
Yeah.
And what's
yeah.
that like? It's like Lava Raza or something?
Lavazza, something like that.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
same. Those are the beans that I order off of Amazon for making because I make the espressos at home now, Trent. I'm not a sucker. I don't go getting the espresso and making the lattes from the bucks
Yeah.
of stars. No, my friend.
No, nor should you when you can do it. You can do it just as well for way cheaper at home.
I'm keeping those bucks in my pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right?
You're not throwing them out to the stars.
Yeah, so in a way, I was very briefly connected with you on your trip, and I liked that because it's like,
Well,
oh, look, and I'm like, hey, look, he's like having authentic Cafe Portugal coffee, and I use the same stuff.
Well, and so this is an interesting thing. Like the coffee culture is so different in Portugal than it is in the States. For like they had what was called an Americano, which they said, oh yeah, it's American style coffee. Nope, it was just a double shot of espresso.
Oh, well, actually, and interestingly enough, in the States, if you order an Americano, it may be that, but then it's topped off in a coffee mug with hot water.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No. So it was. Yeah. In this case, it was just double the amount of. So if you order a coffee, they give you an espresso. There's no such thing as coffee that's just not espresso. Everything is espresso in Portugal.
That's a movement I can get behind, sir.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
fully endorse that.
So,
I
yeah.
guess I have to ask the flip side too, because it's kind of like we're talking about all the cool, nice stuff from your vacation, but
Yeah.
realistically speaking, you also got to experience something that I'm wondering what it's like, especially considering what's been transpiring in the news of late. What was it like
Yes.
being abroad as an American?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, just fine.
Yeah?
Like there was nothing that came up like at all, which is weird because when I went 10 years ago, all the time everyone was asking about it and talking about it. But this trip, not a single person brought it up at all.
Now it's more like they just want to put America out of their mind.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, if they want to spend their money here, great. We're just happy they can leave.
Yes, exactly. and then that's where they'll be going, and hopefully not bringing something back with them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear your vacation was so relaxed, and it looked like it was really low key for you. It was mostly
Totally.
like, it's like, okay, well, this is the place we're staying, and this is the gist I got. This is the
Yeah,
place
yeah.
we're staying, and if it's a reasonable distance within to go to, I'm willing to check it out.
Yep.
Or if the cab ride's not too long, I'll wing it out. But other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. And the nice thing was, between the four of us, and we were Airbnb-ing the whole thing. So, the each couple for housing for 10 days was only $600,
That is insane.
right? So, and then the flights were $400 a person. We rented a car together, which was extremely cheap. And then that way we could we could see a ton of the country just driving around. Every time we didn't have, like, we needed a ride somewhere, we just Ubered, and that was just fine. Like, seriously, dude, traveling right now, it is so different than the last time I went on a big vacation where, like, everything had to be like, okay, we got to find this hostel and hope they have rooms and then stay there, and then we're going to have to catch a bus and blah, blah, blah. No, it was so much easier, and, like, I don't know.
Holy crap, I'm already exhausted just based on that description.
Really though, like I just feel like it's so much nicer than I had ever anticipated. It's really cool.
Very nice. Well, I'm glad to hear you got away and you got to relax. It's kind of like that was your reward at the end of your hero's journey, if you will.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everything you've been. And I feel for you because, come to think of it, I guess I should say I haven't had a good vacation in several years. Definitely not since 2014. I think, because then at the end of 2015, the beginning of 2016 was the trip post auto accident where we tried to go to Disneyland.
Right.
And let's just, for lack of a better term, I was definitely Captain No Fun because with the back pain I was having,
Oh God.
I would basically have like maybe a 1 to 2 hour window in the Advil use where it was effective. So it was like, okay, miserable, grumpy prick can't move, miserable pumpkin. Oh, I'm starting to feel it. Okay, I can get out and do something. 2 hours later, miserable prick back, grumpy mood back.
Yeah.
It was so. I too am truly ready for just a vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we're planning a big road trip in October. That part of that will be so.
Nice.
That'll
nice.
be fun. And
And October's the perfect time to drive.
especially
not
considering
so
I'll be
goddamn
going into
hot.
the Southwest. So.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, super exciting. But you know what? Essentially, we've taken out the slides of our road trip, and now we've displayed them for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's okay. We're only like 15 minutes in. I'm sure everyone's enjoyed hearing
Yeah,
about it.
Fine. Just fine.
I got to tell you though, I have a funny feeling one of the topics we should probably avoid in any way, shape, or form would be Guardians of the Galaxy because
Sure.
it has literally dominated 2 full episodes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
far.
Well, and then I don't know if you've seen some people there right now. Disney is testing out the new Guardians ride to replacing the Tower of Terror.
Yes, actually, I think this was the intended opening weekend because I remember there was a start date because there was also the end date for the Tower of Terror, and I personally thought to myself, wow, that seems like a very ambitious schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw.
And I've heard positive feedback from the internet so far about it. Like one person I know was in a 3-hour line but they got in and said that every bit worth it. Disney did a great job.
Really? Yeah, I saw someone had posted they'd filmed the introduction like going in, and the animatronic rocket is like I thought it was a puppet. It was that good, but it wasn't. It's animatronic. It is awesome, at least from what I've seen.
Now, the interesting thing too, if you think about it, there, because and I don't know if it was, but let's say that ILM is doing the visual graphics, right?
Right.
ILM owned by Lucasfilm, which means now owned by Disney, right?
Disney. Yep.
So we potentially have a situation where the Imagineers are able to tap into the physics and the motion already established by the character itself, right? Because
Right.
everything that he does, it's an algorithm, it's a movement, it's partially a mapping from point A to point B. So they could also render a 3D model of this character
Yes.
to such detail, and they get the opportunistic synergy of being able to combine those both together. So we've got all the information to make a great animatronic skeleton and
Yep.
the surface, but also we have the opportunity to cash into this already established character movement that's been developed.
Yes.
Kind of like, yeah, I'm sure you didn't see Westworld on HBO yet, but it's kind of like the rememories. Certain little attributes that are developed along the way are picked up and retained for realism. And that's kind of like what they did. Because they get to any of these rocket movements that have happened in the past, that's still all just a mapped movement and an algorithm fulfilling itself. So
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I can imagine. I didn't see the intro yet, but now that I know that it's out there, I'm excited to see it because, damn.
Yeah, and then I fell down the internet rabbit hole of like watching the actors now, right? As they have at employees at the parks who dress up as Guardians of the Galaxy characters now. So there's like the Groot it looks so good. The costume for the Groot when you see Groot walking around.
I think there's also a photo op somewhere with Baby Groot.
Yes, and you can talk to it and it will talk back to you.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the at least the one actor that they had playing Star-Lord, holy crap, man, he has the mannerisms, the voice, the inflection, everything of Chris Pratt's choices in the films down to a T, where like if you were just listening, I don't think they'd be distinguishable. But obviously he doesn't look exactly like him, but not far off. And I'm sure that's what everyone is dying to play right now is to be cast as Star-Lord and not like Goofy or Woody.
I hate to make everything always come back on this show. It's seemingly to Parks and Rec.
Sure.
But generally, I view Star-Lord as just the smarter version of Andy from Parks and Rec.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So it for sure.
So you could even use some of those items as weapons, if you will, in your impersonation. But yeah, I mean, like they also get to grow the little the slight sideburns. They get to wear stubble and facial hair, which used to be verboten in the park.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So I've since the transition, I've been excited to see it. I'm glad I got to go on the Tower of Terror once, and like I said before, I could easily see how that could be converted, because after you go in the nice lobby and you go into the elevator portion, then you're taken into this massive open space that's supposed to be like the basement and all the pipes underneath the Tower of Terror. So you can imagine that would easily translate to a sci-fi, collector's place very easily. It's already spitting out a bunch of steam, so you got that rocking.
Sure. Yeah.
And then you just give it a few more redressings and a few cabinets here and there, and I'm sure it would have been perfect. So I'm excited to go see it. Tower of Terror was good. I'm very interested to see how they utilize this.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, too, I don't know how they've deployed it, but I was just thinking, because the Tower of Terror, I think, basically would have two screens, and then occasionally you would stop at one of the doors that would open and you'd see the park, right?
Okay.
And then it would close
like looking
back.
out to the park.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So I was just thinking, though, that if they had changed this to where it was a motion-driven ride and you're just working off of a screen for the experience,
Right, yeah.
I could easily see all of those being repurposed so that you could, instead of having one car per track, you could literally load up 3 and they're just all moving and getting the same experience just on different floors.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if they did that. So part of me is like, I want to see the physics of it too. What's going on?
Yeah.
Fucking nerds.
What is this virtual reality where they're taking us through?
Yeah, what's the deal here? I want to know. Anyway, man, so that is probably all we should say about that. But I have to say that it's I think it's a bold move, but they're kind of doing that all throughout Disneyland. That particular area is kind of getting recreated as the Marvel. It was the Hollywood area before, but now it's becoming more like the Marvel Hollywood area, because I think that's where you can experience their Summer of Superheroes, where it's like,
I was gonna say, are they branding it like a like Marvel Land or Star Wars Land, or you know what I mean? Anything like that?
I don't know that they're directly doing it. I just think they're making the Hollywood area more of the Marvel superheroes area.
Okay.
And there are people that probably go to religiously, like, to D23.com or Disney Insider. I'm just literally making up domain names that I'm relatively certain exist, right?
Oh, the coworker I have that, his family has season passes living in Utah. I mean, you get him started on this and he gives you the ins and the outs and the speculation, and it's impressive.
Well, I know that, and this is an interesting underbelly of the beast as well, that I think, because there are people that are, of all of the expansion going on at Disneyland proper, okay? All of the people that are, the one thing they're really waiting to see developed is a new official Disneyland branded hotel. The reason why is because once they have those, that means that for the Disney, basically what's the for lack of a better term, it's the Disney timeshare thing. It's like Disney Vacation or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. And the reason why they're waiting for another hotel is because then officially that also includes timeshare space would be available. Because right now, even if you wanted to tap into the rewards, your home area for your timeshare would have to be like the Hawaiian one or a new part of Florida, because they don't have anything more available.
There's no more. Yeah, and I was going to say, and a lot of those are actually outside the park. Is that right?
No. I mean, it's like if I had known about this and I actually had money when they opened up the Grand Californian, which is the one that's actually directly adjacent to Disney. Wait, it's the main Disneyland. And what's the other side? California Adventure.
Adventure, yeah.
So California Adventure, it like literally is an entrance to California Adventure as well. When that was sold, that was like the last opportunity you had to get in on this. So when you stay there, you're staying at the Grand Californian. You're staying in a fancy place. You're staying in part of the hotels, and it's just like that's one of the things that they equated in. We'll have X number of spaces for guests and X number of spaces for this the Disneyland Vacation Club or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know that. So yeah, it'd be cool to do our homework a little bit and just like see what your coworker. You should even like pre-record it as a segment. It's
that's not a bad idea. I should do that. Yeah.
Or do it for one of your podcasts, and he could just put together like the Disney Insider Minute, and it's nothing more structured than I'm randomly going to pick a current topic in the park, and we'll see how deep it goes.
Oh man, I can only imagine. Only imagine.
Well, I know and it is amazing to find out the love and support that the Disney parks have. I mean, it is just, in some respects, it's religion for people.
Oh, for sure. No, in all reality, like it's oh man, I think it was College Humor did a thing about a couple that's dating, and then he finally comes out to her as like a Disney park fan.
A Disney file?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's brilliant. I'll have to look it up and see if I can find it. It's really funny.
Right on, man. Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. Anyway, let's see now. So we talked about Portugal. We talked about that. I think maybe we should dip into Trent's Corner. How do you feel about that, sir?
Let's do it to it.
All right. It's that time where we find out what is in Trent's Corner.
Ew, what's that?
I don't want to do this, but I'm going to anyway. What is in Trent's Corner? That's right. Will Wilkins won't shut the hell up. He'll blather on and even start talking about timeshares. We got to give a good equal timeshare to Trent as well. So Trent, sir, what is going on other than vacation? What's going on in your part of the world?
Well, comic books are kind of a big deal to me, Will. I think that's not news to anyone.
Nope.
However, this morning, a friend of mine sent me a message saying like, "Hey, have you ever looked into the CEO of Marvel Comics?" And so I spent my morning kind of going down this weird rabbit hole, and holy shit, dude, holy shit.
What on earth are you? Have you discovered the true origin of the Illuminati? What are we going over here?
Well, there's a lot going on here. So before we get into that, let me preface. The Atlantic, great magazine, put out an article this month about the problem that Marvel Comics is having in sales, and it's not just Marvel; it's across the board. Sales are low. The biggest selling comic book right now is maybe selling 100,000 copies.
Oh,
That's
wow.
it. Yeah.
And that's and you think just like what, a decade ago or 2 decades ago, you had Jim Lee setting records on millions for a book?
Millions, exactly. Yeah. And so there's a lot of speculation. Marvel, their response was kind of bullshit, I think. They said, well, fans told us that they wanted diverse characters, and so we've amped up and done a lot of more diverse characters, but they haven't sold. And that, I think, is not the reason why they haven't sold. $5 comic books mean you can buy one, maybe 2 a month. You know what I mean? Like, and if you're still releasing these big events, which they're in the middle of right now with one called Secret Empire, we'll put a tack in that for a second. Then if you're the diehard Marvel fan, you can only afford to buy the stuff that is actually shaping the universe at the time, which is usually these big events, which they always do because they know they'll sell, but everything else falls along the way, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Secret Empire is interesting because Captain America has been brainwashed into thinking that he is a sleeper agent for Hydra. And so he's the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D., and so now all the superheroes are going to have to team up against against Captain America because he's this Hail Hydra sleeper agent. Funny enough, now relating all that back to what I started out with, Ike Perlmutter is the CEO of Marvel Comics, and he is an advisor to our president.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a regular at Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. Has donated millions. Yes. Yep. Millions to super PACs supporting both Mark Rubio and President Trump. And very reclusive too. Like, it was a huge deal. The Hollywood Reporter. It was a huge deal that the Hollywood Reporter was able to snap a picture of him and Trump together, I think in like February or something, because there's like, in all reality, 3 pictures of this guy exist in the world.
Wow. That kind of, and not completely related, and I hate to tread in your corner, but like I recently read that is sort of the personality of the CEO of Sears as well right now, Sears Holdings. This guy apparently had an abduction scare or something, and now generally he runs everything remotely from, I kid you not, his island that he owns.
Oh my God, are you serious?
I am dead serious. So he does everything remotely via video conference, and he just stays safely as much as he can within the confines of his island.
Oh, if you want to sound like a supervillain, buy an island.
Yeah, exactly. That's one way. But that's an interesting thing. So one of the things I'm taking away from this, and makes sure I'm understanding, essentially you're saying that you're wondering if there's some more subcontext around this whole secret empire thing.
Absolutely. And Nick Spencer, who's writing Captain America and has kind of been the forefront architect behind this whole story. He's very politically conscious. He's most everyone that works in the comic industry is very socially aware and do a lot of commentary in that. And so I wonder if this is their way of casting or pulling back the shade that that's going on within their own organization. My friend also made a very good point in going back to the mismanagement of kind of the comics and how they're selling, and like there's so many gimmicks that happen that there's no like long continuity that ever happens, and they're too expensive. He said if it's knowing that Ike Perlmutter is the owner, a net worth of $4.2 billion, if it's the larger narrative of their haplessness in developing and selling quality print content recently. And that makes so much sense, right? For someone who is not necessarily involved in the creative side to be looking at things just at a number standpoint and being like, well, you've done this before, better do it again. It's the only way you're going to be able to make money. And then you actually see people rebel against it. I don't know. For me, it was just like this. I felt like I needed to have like a cork board with like pictures
String
up on it and string going all over the place. Finkel is Einhorn.
It was just one of those weird realization moments, right?
It totally was. It totally was. And I sent a tweet out to Nick Spencer asking if that was the case. I hope actually he doesn't respond, as it could get him into a lot of trouble. But
yeah,
I hope,
especially if you're saying some of this is at the direction of his boss.
Totally, and that's the thing. That's where I stand conflicted, because like if people are having moral conviction about protest with where their money goes for certain things, then maybe that's something that Marvel Comics and essentially down the road Disney, who owns them, should take a look at. And but man, he's been the CEO since 2005, and today was the first day I've heard about him. So he's done a good job of not standing in the limelight, because I honestly think it could affect sales. Exactly. Exactly, man. That's what I'm saying.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that. But you do also have a good point in respect to just the $5 an issue thing. I mean, if you think about it, a few years ago, they tried to relaunch Spider-Man by basically putting him back on track.
Right.
Because originally they had tried to reboot Spider-Man before, and they wanted to start with zero numbering. I guess as a way to not intimidate people, but then they ended up with Brand New Day, I believe it was. They ended up bringing back also the original numbering. So now suddenly you were way back up in the 500s or some odd.
Yeah.
God, I remember being in I remember 311 through 350 something, which if you think about it, that's already how long in the tooth Spider-Man was, to be in the 300s. When we saw the introduction first of the black costume, which turned out to be the black symbiote, which becomes Venom. Anyway, not where I was going with this. But with Brand New Day, they also went with a ballsy move, I think, at least from the end product I saw. I think they went with cheaper artists, so that way they could roll out 3 books a month, I think is what they were doing at that point.
Gosh.
Yeah, and so, you'd get some real rough, sketchy-looking type of animation, but you got story content, even though some of that was bringing us anti-Venom.
Right.
Please. Anyway, even at that time, the only reason why I was able to buy those books is because I was an adult with a real job.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And for me, like there are and I'm not sure. I would like to see if I could get some creators to respond, maybe even under anonymity, but I would guess that the margins they're being paid haven't increased at all. Maybe not even the margins, but I'm guessing they're not making more if the comics are sold for more, if that makes sense. I think it's still based on a they've sold this many issues, you'll be paid on how many are sold, as opposed to how much money they actually earn. So raising the cost would actually be detrimental and hurting them. If efficacy was a priority for distribution, I think that would be a huge way that they could lower costs. And also, we don't need cardstock covers. And I'll be 100% honest, I don't need a high gloss page. It could be on recycled newsprint, and I would be happy, just as happy as I am now, especially because Marvel gives you a free digital download with every single copy. So you're paying for something that you don't really need, and for most people, they're gonna read it once, put it in their collection, and that's that.
Dude, I've still got in the box out in the garage, just taken care of poorly, yellowing pages, maybe even some ink bleed from page to page. But I have out there I think the first appearance of Venom, or the revelation it's Eddie Brock as Venom, one or the other.
Nice.
And I'll tell you though, if you look at the paper stock that was printed on, that was more like recycled newsprint.
Yep, exactly.
And you may say you're positive or you're negative there because look, I got some moisture in there clearly, so that's why there's an ink bleed. But still, it was fine when I read it. It was just fine. It still told the story for me, and I was happy to get the info.
And also, that would also up the value of comics that are kept in better shape, because it is harder to keep those comics in pristine shape because of how they're printed. Like, I don't know, for me, it would make a lot of sense, and it could increase. Just $5 is ridiculous. You cannot. I mean, that's the same as going to a matinee at a movie. You know what I mean? And most people do that maybe once a month. So when that's your
$5 is the bargain point that my grocery store tries to sell me on items like $5 Fridays.
Yes.
Or look, you can get this gigantic package of large mushrooms for $5.
Yeah. Yep.
So
exactly.
That's not what you sell a publication that was originally marketed to kids for.
Filet mignon, $5 a pound.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that.
When it's on sale and almost rotten, yeah.
Boy, I wonder how many times the quality and grade of meat is discussed on other tech podcasts.
Besides the Beef and Dairy Network.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sometimes Trent, it's just better to stay at home with the herd, right?
It's so true. Those damn sisters.
Man, so okay, well, cool. That's two very interesting items coming out of your corner, and one of them too. Not even the weirdness of the Marvel CEO, but the other thing that Marvel Comics CEO.
Yes.
Let's be expressly clear there. But it's interesting though. You hit on the other thing too, where they tried to blame diversity on lack of sales because they were going with more alternative approaches, like they had a Lady Thor and
yep, stuff like that, which across the board fans I think do enjoy. I enjoy. It's bringing new life to these somewhat tired stories. Yeah, and it's a cop out for them to project it back on the fan when in all reality, like we're literally being forced to vote with our dollars. And so we can't buy that much.
Yeah, exactly. It's sometimes it just you can't even afford to have a vote at the table because the table's too damn expensive.
Yep.
Just like when you see charity dinners, it's like $1,500 a plate. That's a down payment on a car. What are you talking about?
I know. Yeah, it's like I'll throw some change in if I can.
Yeah, I can cover part of the tip maybe.
Just the tip. That's what I can give.
I said it.
It's for charity, Will. It's for charity. Come on. It's just the tip for charity.
Oh, my God. Oh, there's the episode title, at least. We got that. Just the tip for charity. Oh, Lord. And as I said it, I'm like, oh, no, wait a second. What did I do? Why did I say that?
Yeah. And charity's not the name of someone, I hope.
No, definitely not. But I'd like to talk about charity in just a moment. But first, Trent, I got to tell you about something I'm excited about. All right?
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
I don't.
You're back, so I get to open my loot crate.
Oh, buddy. Going to pick up the loot crate.
That's
Gonna
right.
Pop that box open.
Oh, that's right. Gonna pop. I like that. Pop that box.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
We're going to make it pop.
I'm just glad I'm the only one that has access to that isolated channel of me saying, pop that box.
Yeah.
Because that was a bad call on my part. Boy, I'm just batting 1,000 right now. Okay, let's get the special video share up. So there's me in one corner, sort of. There's Trent in the other. I got to hold things up high. Or maybe if I come up here. Yeah, that would be the better one. I'm gonna be. If you're, even though you're looking at the items and part of me, Trent, you're actually looking up.
Yeah.
You're kind of looking over towards your right, kind of like, no, don't do that. Don't touch me.
Oh.
Get your hand out of my asshole. Anyway.
Just like see what I can do. So up in here.
Yeah, that's kind of the area. And now I'm looking at Skype just to make things even more confusing.
Yeah.
And oh,
what do we got? What do we got? What do we got?
Trent, I talk about them all the time. These are my favorites when we get them. And recently I even completed some surveys at Loot Crate. You remember I talk about the Q-Figs.
Q-Figs, yeah.
And do you see what this one is?
Is that a rocket Q-Fig?
And do you see what's atop his little head?
A little baby Groot.
Yes. Oh, this thing looks nice.
That is sweet.
Oh, it's just so beautiful. Oh, what else do we have here? Always guaranteed a T-shirt, folks. A pin and a T-shirt. What is the T-shirt? This I can get behind. The Goonies, Trent. The Goonies, never say die.
Never say die. Goonies never say die.
I now have a new favorite T-shirt. Oh, thank you for that. And oh, lo and behold.
What do you got? What do
well,
you got? What do you
last
got?
time I was confused because they gave pencils, and now I know the reason why. It's the Art of Coloring. It's a Star Wars adult coloring book.
Coloring book. Fudge, man, I want that.
Including like some ideas to get patterns. Look, there's 2 pages of R2s that you could doodle on.
That is awesome.
They've said that adult coloring is good therapy.
Oh, dude, it's so great because it's kind of mindless but still creative, and it feels good. It's like doodling.
Yeah, in a little way. So that all this kind of cool stuff, folks. It comes from your Loot Crate. It is the best gift it's the best surprise is coming. And if you are a fashionable fashionista, you can get Loot Wear. If you want some really big stuff, you can get Loot Crate DX. They've even got Loot Pets, Trent. You want to get Michael Cera a little something, or come October when the new dog gets here, you can do that.
Yeah.
Get them some it sends them some nice nerdy wear, folks. It's a wonderful deal. All you got to do is go to lootcrate.com/netheads, and you'll get a discount on your first box or something like that. I can't remember what it is anymore. It doesn't matter. The shit's cool.
Doesn't matter.
You want to get it. Get it from Loot Crate, netheadsonair.com. Well, we have a link there too, but you're supposed to use lootcrate.com/netheads. I think you get $3 off your first subscription.
Yeah.
And it literally is. I'm wearing the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because it looks like Voltron T-shirt.
Yeah.
That came in one of the previous crates, and those Q-Figs are my favorite. I mean, I've built a little collection of them here. Jessica Jones, I think knocked Deadpool down because I don't see.
Well,
him.
she would. She's a strong, independent woman.
Yeah, exactly. Makes perfect sense to me. Boy, I'm excited about that adult coloring book. That'll come in handy during meetings.
Yeah, dude.
Because I work from home, so who's gonna?
Yeah, no one will know as long as you're on the phone.
Nobody will know. They don't even know if I have pants, Trent.
Yeah, and guess what? I hope you don't.
I did get into a funny discussion with my manager once because it was Friday. He was wearing a polo, and then I was subsequently always wearing a polo because I do a lot of video conferencing. So that way I at least look semi-professional with the background of gigantic man-child behind me.
Yeah, right.
Which in itself is hard to... I should get a curtain to pull across. But anyway. So
pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
So I always have a polo shirt on, and then he made mention of, like this one guy that was reporting in Miami. So it shows him he's got the tie in the shirt, and then it pulls back, and he's got like cargo shorts. And at that very moment, I look down, cargo shorts.
You didn't stand up though, right?
No, I did not, because that would have just driven the point a little too close to home. So
Right.
We avoided that completely.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, it is a bit of a blend because I get to have my man-child background, but it's still weird. No, this thing's shoved all the way off to the side during those times. So let's not talk home.
Right? Yeah.
It's like it's a different world, same space but different world, Trent.
Different world.
You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
I'm glad to hear that. I am very glad to hear that. So, Trent, they dropped another Spider-Man Homecoming trailer. I don't know if you saw this one yet.
Oh yes, I did. It came out like on Thursday or Friday.
Something. I don't know. All I know is before Hollywood Babylon last week, I had I think it was either Thursday or Friday. I had not had a good day. And then there was the most magical thing on the internet, and it was Michael Giacchino, the he does a lot of music now for the movies. He did the
Oh, okay.
he did the orchestra work at the beginning of Up when it's the old couple getting to know one another.
Aw.
Yeah, he does a lot of
Uh-huh.
the feels. He also was the what is the word I'm looking for? The people that write music for movies.
Composers?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
He's a major composer now and conductor as well. And so it was this video clip, and it's just like it was from him, and all it said was "Who's ready?" and then hashtag Homecoming, and maybe Spider-Man the movie, or Spider-Man Home. I don't remember. These are the
Yeah.
details that aren't important. What was more important was it was a camera that then came up from below and started panning up to follow him conducting, and then go over the whole orchestra. And
Oh,
they were
cool.
playing the world's most awesome orchestra version and artist's rendition of the original Spider-Man cartoon theme music.
Spider-Man. Yeah,
Yes.
the 69 Spider-Man.
Oh, it was just a thing of beauty. It was like I think I've waited my entire life to hear this. I really do.
Oh.
And that came along, and then of course Marvel just doesn't do it once; they've got to do it twice,
No.
if not thrice. And we got the new trailer, and we got a little extra footage. It's a lot of the stuff we've already seen, I think.
There was some extra stuff in there that I thought was pretty cool, though.
What takeaway did you get?
Well, one, we saw that Donald Glover is actually in the film.
Oh yeah, and do we know what role he's in?
No, at least I don't know. I'm sure it's listed on IMDb or something like
I
that.
don't know either, but I'm happy not to know right now.
Yeah, likewise, me too. Yeah, and then another thing that I saw that I thought was really interesting was that so in Spider-Man Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, who was where we got, and now in the regular universe, the Miles Morales version of Spider-Man.
Yes, sir.
He has a best friend, which I think is brilliant, in putting in this as well. I'm trying to remember what his name is, but he kind of plays the straight guy to Miles Morales, and we saw him talking to Peter a whole bunch about this. He knows his secret,
Right.
in the comic book, and so. I'm gonna find his name, and I'll let you know what it is.
But it is a cool thing to kind of include the Miles Morales sidekick, who's apparently Tom Holland's Spider-Man's friend. As not sidekick, but friend. And this guy's friend as well in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's Miles Morales is kind of an orphan as well, and he ends up spending most of his time with this friend and kind of taking on like a brother, a more positive version of Harry Osborn.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It's something fresh and it's new, and it adds for a lot of what he is. Here's the perfect example. He's the Foggy to Daredevil.
There you go. Okay, now I'm with you.
And we see that that's a huge part within the story. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yep. Also, I like that we at least got some callback to the original Spider-Man trailer footage that we got to see, where he's like, "Hey, wait a second, you aren't the real Avengers." Hulk gives it away.
Yeah.
We got to see that moment again, but obviously we can tell that the story does involve these heavy-duty weapons that are coming into play, and I don't know. I like the story they're seeming to tell, and we also get to see obviously that there's part of that exchange with Tony Stark in him finding out he gets to keep the suit. Now, of course, the question we have to ask is this him getting to keep the suit at the end of the movie after it's been given back to him, or is it the first time when he's just dropping him off? So I like the little game that they've played with what they've revealed across these trailers.
Exactly, because at the very beginning we're like, oh crap, so he's not gonna have the suit for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And now we're like, oh wait, maybe he does. I don't know. Genki Lee is the sidekick's name. Genki Lee. I believe he's Korean.
Nothing says sidekick like Genki.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything that ends in an E, Bucky, Robin.
Totally.
Wait, that doesn't work. No.
Total E.
Yeah, total E, my friend. Exactly. But it was cool to see those two things drop. I'm still, I before we went to go see, since I've last seen you, Denise and I had a date night, and we went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh
2.
man, how was it received?
She thought it was she had the exact same experience as me. She really enjoyed it. She in no way even cared about comparing it to the first. She just thought it was a great movie.
Yep.
And she's even willing to go see it again, which the only other movie that got that was maybe the original Guardians and the first Avengers. Those are the only ones I can remember her doing that with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was definitely well received there, but I got to reflect on the trailers once again. I was shown, and it just reminded me yet again there's just not a lot of Wonder Woman advertising, just like you brought up last time.
Really though, I and it's out this week, but I it'll be interesting to see how it's done.
Yeah, I didn't really it maybe maybe they're just waiting to dump it all into the post Memorial Day dollars.
Oh, perhaps. Yeah, that could make the kickoff of summer, and then it's already out. Why haven't you seen it yet? Type thing.
Yeah, and they did have the basically the second trailer for Spider-Man before that. But also, it's amazing at just how much crap is coming out that I don't care about. But once again, they included the Thor Ragnarok trailer, which I enjoy. But I'm just all about Homecoming. I only care about Homecoming. I don't give a shit about anything else.
Well, and I think the biggest problem with the Thor trailer is it's the whole movie.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like the invasion and then bringing down of Asgard, and well, I think it only gets us through like to maybe the halfway point of the second act, because it's like them finally getting Hulk and Thor together.
Well, I mean, we know he's at like a planet Hulk fighting Hulk. Like,
what I really hope though is that it just takes a complete left turn, and they just battle their way right out of the stadium, and everyone realizes that regardless, they can't be contained. And then it just becomes a buddy movie. They just hop into a ship and start an intergalactic adventure.
That sign me up. I would love that.
I would just suddenly become Thelma and Louise. I would love that so much.
It's just the ending is them just like driving a ship into a supernova holding hands.
Exactly. Just to see what had happened. But we already know the other guy would just spit it out.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too that I purposely think they've been conditioning us with these extras with Thor hanging out in Australia or New Zealand with his roommate, whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah.
I really think they've been doing some of these elements just to help cushion us, like against, because really you got to admit that line read saying he's a friend from work is a little rough to take. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's only because he's been hanging out with this roommate in New Zealand that naturally he can relate to that comment.
Uh-huh.
I don't know though. It's just kind of that is a real gleeful and it's a crowd playing moment for sure. But now, like you said, we've seen it.
Yeah,
So,
I know. That's I like it because you get you excited for the movie. But there's always, whenever you see a really big exciting part that you've seen in the trailer, when it happens in the theater, it just feels cheap. I don't know.
Yeah, and then because they aren't pumping it out at the same level in audio as the movie's going to be at, that's going to completely engulf you. And it's true, during all the previews, it kind of felt like the speaker was just right in front of me, and then the movie happened, and the universe of sound exploded for Gramps down in the audience. But yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like, we see Mjolnir. We see Mjolnir get destroyed in the trailer. And it's like, it would be one thing if she caught it and you just see it like crackling and you're like, oh shit, what happens? But then no, they just show a straight up handle and a nub fall to the ground.
Yeah.
So where do you go from here?
But they haven't been let down yet. And even with what's it called? Give me
Dark World.
Dark
Reign.
Iron Fist movie or TV series.
Oh, yeah, you had to bring that up.
It's not their best work. I still think it's better than anything that DC has had going on.
Oh, you're specifically bringing it back to the Iron Fist right now.
Yeah. Just I'm saying like
or
yes,
even this Thor movie, it may not be like Avengers quality.
That's what I'm saying. It may not be as good as Guardians of the Galaxy, but it'll still probably be better than. And so there's this sliding scale where people will be like really disappointed with it, even though it's better than Batman versus Superman. they'll be like, oh yeah, it wasn't that great, just because you're comparing it to what came out before it, which was Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Right. Man, now you made me think about Iron Fist again. Why'd you go and do that? I don't understand how the world's greatest fighter, that's able to defeat a dragon to get the Iron Fist, how you could have that level of discipline in fighting but be that much less emotionally stable in all other respects of your life.
Right. Well, first and foremost, this was the first series. This is by far their weakest thing they've put out. And in production too, there's like the last scene is strangely low budget. Because
it's a very small set, probably a few rocks, and they're just standing amongst nothing but green as actors, right?
It's the cheapest looking bullshit I've ever seen. In all seriousness, it's awful.
Let's be real, okay? This was the final step they had to do, because they needed to have all of their Defenders stories told and at the ready.
Yeah.
And they needed to basically get us from point A to point B.
The interesting thing about this project is it was not written by a comic book writer. All of the other ones, the first season of Daredevil was written by Christos Gage and his wife. Like, the showrunners, or at least the story creators, have been comic book writers, and then they bring in staff writers to kind of tweak and develop for TV. That was not the case for this one. The guy who created this one is the same guy that wrote this movie called The Wall, I think.
Oh, that one that recently came out about the. But that was well received.
It's the one that John Cena is going to be in.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's a different one. That's once again another John Cena in a military role to make us cry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the same writer, and that's really all he's done. I think they were hoping to like catch this next upcoming star, whatever, and it's fallen really flat. I do. There are a lot of problems with that. I think that's the biggest problem is just the story itself.
Well, and that definitely is somewhere that I think they would have benefited from a writer, because it is kind of weird just to think about the story, because it's also one of the only mystical, non-scientific things of this particular group.
Yep.
All the others are the science-based. Daredevil gets radioactive goo in his eyes.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones, it was an auto accident with, once again, mysterious chemicals.
Yep.
And then Luke Cage, he was experimented upon.
Scientific experiment, yeah.
Yeah, and which was that was the one thing that I didn't like, was that when they basically got into that, part of the reason why it worked was all this stuff he was combined with. So to find out his near invincibility is because of like abalone genes. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's something that's like illegal to farm off the coast without a license or something.
Yeah,
but I'm like,
I was just gonna say, yeah, because it's like having a higher metachlorian count.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like, we mixed them with abalone. It's like, have you even heard the name?
Yeah.
Can we go with the scientific, maybe the Latin description for it? But anyway, Iron Fist was unbalanced, I think, is its biggest problem, and it didn't really know what kind of story it was trying to tell. I think
exactly. Like it felt like whoever wrote it had never watched Hong Kong kung fu movies before.
No, which it would have benefited a little from. And plus, I think Danny Rand himself came off as weird as well, because
I agree.
In the very first one, he seemed mystic and clueless, and then somehow it devolves back into like unstable man-child with unresolved issues.
Yep.
And I just didn't see getting from point A to point B.
There's some really simple conventions that it left out, like showing us why we should care that Danny lost his parents. We never saw like anything any relationship building between he and his parents. So when he freaks out that people are keeping the Rand name, we don't really care.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Like, and that's what he keeps on saying. Well, it's my family's name. It means something to me. And we're like, how do we know that?
You know, not to mention how young were you? How do you know that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. There were a lot of
I mean,
problems.
unless during all that training and all that beating he underwent, his whole mantra was just, "I am a Rand. I am a Rand. I am a Rand."
I'm a Rand man.
Oh, but still, at least it looks like they got something interesting going on with Defenders. So thank goodness
Yeah.
for that.
Yep, absolutely.
I have to admit, other than that, though, I've just been like ingrained with work and home projects and stuff. Like since you've been gone, Trent.
Since you've been gone.
Thank you. One of the things that I've had to undergo was replacing the cooktop in my kitchen.
Oh.
Which actually turns out was really easy. And it's, once again, you get a feeling of accomplishment. But the thing that also blew me away is just either, I don't know if it's how much more efficient because it's a gas one. So it's like how much more efficiency could you expect? But somehow it is. Things cook a lot faster now. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. So underwent that got done. And now I've once again turned my blind eye towards that goddamn backyard.
Oh.
Do you by any chance want to come visit for like a weekend to just like hang out and kind of, I don't
and
know, help out on some stuff
work?
maybe? It's interesting. I have to tell you, Trent, at the moment when you, at least for me, it was like the moment when I transitioned into my 40s, when I started realizing how helping out on these things really can wear you down, if you will. I've become a lot more cognizant about not asking people for help. You know, it used to be I would ask a friend to come over and help me with my bullshit at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I got all this stuff to do, and instead I start thinking, well, if I just maybe unload this or that, I could get a little extra money and just bring in some help.
Yeah.
I could pay some people to do this maybe.
Yeah. It's true.
That's kind of where I am right now. I've got 160 pounds of polymer sand in containers in the garage.
Oh, geez.
Because I did. You remember all that concrete work I did? It's kind of cobblestone, right? Well, now I'm at the point where it's been so long since that was done. I have to restabilize some points, but then I also need to get new bendy board to basically build a frame on either side of the walkways or the ends where they are, so that I have somewhere for the polymer sand to terminate against.
Sure, okay.
Because also the finish was shit, so I've got to do some work there. But let's not get into that now. So I've got to get the polymer sand in between all these things to help stabilize them. And I was looking at it, and well, first of all, Roundup did not work, or at least it hasn't done its full job yet in one area. So I've still got the most adorable little ivy growing. It's got these tiny little leaves, and it just looks like it could all just suddenly become shamrocks.
Is it Morning Glory? Yeah.
It might. Morning what now?
Morning Glory?
It might. I don't know what Morning Glory is.
I
thought that's when. Never mind. I won't go into what I thought it was.
Right.
I thought it was like a Brentwood hello, or a Brentwood good morning. Sorry, you had to have seen the People versus O.J. Simpson to know what that was.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. I don't blame you. But it is the kind of thing where if it were growing throughout, I wouldn't mind.
Right.
But still, I need to fill in those gaps. And that's where I was at. Like, okay, well, I could do the framing, but then I got to cast the sand. And then what do? I'm supposed to sweep it in between, right? It's like, maybe I should pay somebody else to do this. That's my instant thought.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, there's one dangling participle that's left over from the last episode.
Well, we better cut that hanging Chad.
Exactly. I did in retrospect, I realized I did something bad, but I thought I was doing something good, Trent, because like you had mentioned that after the vacation, you'll probably get around to getting that reel mower that you've been talking about getting.
Yeah.
And then I came up with the genius idea because you said around what the price was, and I'm like, well, that's like the amount that we made from Amazon. The kind people that go to netheadsonair.com, click the Amazon link, and every bit helps. And I dedicated that money to you, the whole kit and caboodle, for Christmas. And I'm like, well, that's about the same amount of money. I'll just have one delivered. Now, the thing that I did not realize, and this is why it's bad, is basically I promised money to you at one point, and then I gave you absolutely no buying decision in how the money was spent. So I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me for that.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Lawnmower is here. The lawn is mowed. It is beautiful, my friend.
You already broke it in?
Totally, dude. Spent all day yesterday. And it honestly, it mowing with a real mower is a lot like folding your clothes in that it's a very simple task that you can just focus on wholly and kind of forget about everything else and just focus on what you're doing at the moment, because it's different than a self-propelled gas mower, because there you're just kind of walking along behind it, letting it do all the work. But here, you have to be aware of where you're pushing it and going back and forth if the grass is a little too long in a certain place. And I think that's going to lead to more conscientious care of my lawn, because I do have to be mowing it, every 5 days. Otherwise it takes way too long to mow, or I don't know. I'm really excited about it. And the lawn looks great.
The thing I have to ask, Trent, only because, it is now a method of mowing where you are the motor, so there's no loud, distracting noise. Were you listening to podcasts, or were you just listening to the thwip, thwip, thwip of the blades?
I went and got my headphones when I edged the lawn, but I just listened to the blades the whole time.
Nice.
It was awesome, man.
That was being very mindful of what you were doing, and I'm sorry, what's the other portion of it? And understanding the
the connection back to my, I don't know.
Yeah, something along the. I sent Trent. I had recently had to go on a business trip, so I sent Trent a picture asking what you had done to me, because out of everything in the art of tidying that I read, the one thing I love is just the method of folding clothes.
Oh my gosh, it's the greatest thing in the world.
There is a certain feeling of contentment you get when you look in a drawer and there's this section of your clothing that is extremely well organized and standing on its own, and every bit of it fills the space perfectly. And the cool thing too is when you use this method in your folding, things just stand up. You can stand them up. That's how you know you're doing it right.
Oh, totally.
So instead of having a pile of clothes to deal with, I have a row of clothes that I can condense and carry in that manner up there. For those that don't know what we're talking about a book. It's, basically, the title is like The Secret Art of Tidying, How to Do Something and Do Something Else.
Yeah.
Look it up. It is definitely a life-changing experience if you connect with it.
Yeah, seriously, just click on our Amazon site. You can, if you're a Audible subscriber, I know they've got it on Audible. You can listen to it.
I can make it the book of the week.
Oh, there you go.
I'll do that. There we go.
There you go.
This is posted or sometime.
Yeah.
2 months from now when I remember. Who knows? It'll be one or the other.
Right.
I still don't think I posted on our website the show I did with Josh Stifter while you were gone. But anyway,
that's fine.
That's one of the things it says is like, though, when you're folding your shirts or what have you, be mindful of what it is and understand how the thing that it does. I don't know, something Taoistic and high principle that I just don't connect with. I just enjoy the fact that if I get the fold right and going in thirds, I get an item that stands up at the end.
No, in all seriousness, and that's kind of the fun part too, is it's like a puzzle.
In some ways, yeah, because I'm like, well, now I'm folding slacks. But I'll tell you what else, too. If you use this method, it sure as shit makes packing for something a breeze.
Oh, my God. Doesn't it, though? Like, I was packing for Portugal, it made it so easy.
I might, on this trip, I might have been able to get away with just using my backpack the way everything was so neatly packed away in my roll away.
Totally.
I was shocked. Although we're not really here to talk about this stuff. I don't know how we got there. But I'm glad to hear. So then the question, of course, we have to ask. So for those that aren't aware of what we were talking about, last episode before last, so 249, we celebrated 250 without Trent. What the hell?
It happens.
What I should have done is I'm going to call this the real 250. Not to take anything away from Josh.
Yeah.
But,
the REEL 250.
There you go. Boom. Zinga zinga zing. Zinga zang zow. No, anyway. Trent had talked about getting a real mower. We realized the price was the same, so went ahead and I just ordered one for him. And I ordered the one that looked like the best value with the highest ratings, because that's the way I imagined you would have shopped. I stayed roughly within the price that with the money we took in to get the mower. And I made sure that depending on whether you wanted to, I didn't know if you wanted to real-time mulch or not, so I made sure you also got one with a basket if you wanted to attach it.
And that's the great thing about the reel mower is, it doesn't catch like it's impossible to catch everything in the basket. So using the bag catches the bulk of it, but then it allows just enough to go back into the lawn so it doesn't get burned. That's if you've got a thinner lawn, taking everything off can actually be detrimental to it. So
Right. So that's cool. So you're happy with it?
so stoked, dude. Like for real, so stoked.
It's got like three. Let's talk about let's check out the tech specs on the mower.
Yeah.
It's got like 3 adjustable heights and 10-inch wheels, right?
Yep. Yeah, and then little shocks on the back wheels too, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a cute
Yeah, little springs.
cute
Yeah.
little baby shocks. How nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it handled well and it wasn't too
Perfect.
bad.
Nope, everything about it was perfect.
So next time you go out, are you going to go out at the same height, or are you going to go a little lower?
I think I like a longer cut. You can water less frequently with a longer cut.
That is true. That is very
And so
true.
I'll probably leave it at where it's at.
Very nice. But next time it's going to be nothing. Like you probably won't even use the bag, huh?
Oh yeah, it'll be perfect. Yeah, I'll just be trimming the top off.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Getting back to just the tip. Anyway,
Yeah.
folks,
Good
I think we've exhausted all of the things that we could possibly talk about at this point without boring the audience even more. But hey, you know what? Sometimes it is really just about all of our bullshit because it's the only bullshit we know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's at least that's the way, and hopefully sometimes your bullshit aligns with our bullshit, and everybody gets something out of it. If you're listening to this and you don't, kumbaya, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what else to say.
Hakuna Matata.
That probably would have been better. A little bit cleaner, too. Anyway, folks, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. You want to find out more about Trent? He's a part of him on Twitter. I'm NetheadWW. The show is NetHeads on there. And you know what? We'll be back
Soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off.
I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
At smodcast.com.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
I have gotten so accustomed now to accidentally hitting at smodcast.com. I just include it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's just like throw that little baby in there right at the end.
Makes it easier. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I like even today I'm like, do I do it? Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why not?
Can't hurt.
No, and everybody likes to hear a little more Trent.
Well, especially when it's just the tip.